I've always loved our quiet little neighborhood. Rows of manicured lawns, the occasional kid riding a bicycle down the street, and neighbors who mostly kept to themselves. Life was simple, predictable, and honestly, boring. That is, until the day HOA madness struck in the most dangerous way possible. It started when my wife, Jessica, and I decided to take a weekend off and enjoy a little peace in our home. We had just moved in a few months prior and things were finally settling. Jessica had spent the morning organizing our garage while I was outside tending to our new garden. Life was normal, mundane even, till the unsettling sound of a car skidding into our driveway broke the tranquility. Through the window, I saw a man wearing what looked like a uniform badge, gleaming dark sunglasses, the whole ensemble, first. I thought he was a local cop responding to a minor disturbance, but something in his stance didn't sit right. He wasn't moving like a law enforcement officer, more like a person who had read the manual on how to look official. Jessica opened the garage door to step outside and greet him, only for him to immediately pull a gun. There was no warning, no question. Just the cold steel of a firearm pointed at the love of my life. "I'm Officer Daniels, HOA Security," he barked. "You're under investigation for..." Before he could finish, Jessica's calm, measured eyes locked onto him. There was a subtle shift, a crack in his confidence that I didn't catch at the time. But she didn't flinch, not once. Not even when the gun trembled in his hands. What he didn't know, and what most people didn't, is that my wife isn't just anyone. She's a Delta Force operative, still active and highly trained. She's the kind of person who thrives in life or death situations, the kind of person who has stared into danger countless times and come out ahead. To the untrained eye, she seemed calm. To me, I could see the gears turning, years of military training compressing into split-second decisions. Her hand subtly moved toward her hip, her stance widening, and her eyes never leaving his. "Step back," she said, her voice low, steady, and commanding. Now he froze. You could see at the realization that he was dangerously out of his depth. Being a man deluded by self-importance and a fake badge, he raised the gun higher, attempting to assert control. "Don't try anything," shouted, voice quivering slightly. "I am HOA Security." Jessica didn't wait. In less than a second, she disarmed him with a precision that could only come from years of elite training. His gun clattered to the ground, and in the blink of an eye, she had him restrained, kneeling, hands behind his head, completely under control. I was frozen. Part of me wanted to run. Another part wanted to yell at him, but mostly I just stared. In awe, this was my wife, the same woman who could make me laugh in the middle of a storm, now standing over a man who had dared to threaten her life. Once he was on the ground, Jessica didn't yell, didn't lose control. She calmly retrieved the gun and placed it several feet away from him. Then, with a tone that was calm but deadly serious, she demanded, "Who sent you?" "Why did you come here pointing a gun at me?" he stammered, muttering something about HOA. Rules and complaints about the property. He claimed he was enforcing some obscure regulation about fences and property lines. I couldn't believe it. This man thought it was appropriate to threaten someone with a firearm over HOA rules, over complaints that were likely fabricated. Jessica's eyes narrowed. "You think I care about your rules?" she said, voice now ice cold. He threatened, "Me and I will personally ensure the law knows exactly what you tried to do." The fake officer tried to get up, but Jessica effortlessly kept him pinned. In a matter of moments, he had gone from cocky and intimidating to terrified and helpless. Every attempt to speak was cut short by her piercing gaze. Then, almost casually, she whispered something to me. "Call the real cops. This guy thinks he's a hero. He's about to learn he's not." Called the police, hands shaking. Within minutes, patrol cars arrived. Jessica stepped back, releasing him just enough so the officers could take him into custody. The look on their faces was priceless. They could immediately tell this man wasn't legitimate. His uniform was off-brand, his badge fake, his demeanor all wrong. The officers quickly handcuffed him, reading him his rights. He tried to argue, to claim he was just doing his job, but no one believed him, not after pointing a firearm at someone's spouse without cause. Not after being restrained by the very person he tried to intimidate. Jessica explained everything. Calmly, the officers listened carefully, then nodded. "You did the right thing," one said. "And just so you know, if she's Delta Force, that explains a lot." I swallowed hard. That one sentence confirmed what I'd known my whole life. I was married to someone extraordinary. But seeing it in action, seeing her take control, disarm a potentially deadly situation, and remain composed, it was something I'd never forget. The man was arrested for impersonating an officer, threatening with a firearm, and a variety of HOA-related crimes. Turns out, it wasn't just a rogue employee. He was part of a small faction of individuals trying to assert control over our neighborhood through fear. Our HOA, shocked and furious that one of their security officers had gone rogue. But there was nothing they could do. The law was clear. My wife had acted in self-defense, and the man's illegal actions were documented, witnessed, and recorded. The neighborhood buzzed for weeks. People whispered about the Delta Force wife who had taken down a fake cop. Rumors spread, and suddenly we weren't just the quiet couple on the corner, we were the couple with the fearless, highly trained protector living in our house. I, of course, stayed out of the spotlight. My role was simple: support Jessica and make sure our home stayed safe. And after what happened, nothing in this world felt more important. Living in a quiet suburban neighborhood might seem safe, but danger can arrive in the most mundane ways. In our case, it was a fake HOA officer with delusions of authority and a loaded gun. There are few lessons I've taken from this ordeal. Never underestimate anyone's capability. Jessica appears calm, approachable, and loving, but beneath that exterior is a highly trained warrior. Rules don't justify violence. No HOA regulation, no complaint, no property line dispute can justify pointing a firearm at someone. Preparation matters. The entire situation could have gone very differently if Jessica wasn't trained. Years of military discipline, split-second, decision-making, and precise action made all the difference. Courage is quiet but deadly. Jessica didn't need to shout or dramatize. She simply acted, controlled the situation, and neutralized the threat. After the incident, our neighborhood became more cautious. Security measures were reviewed, new rules about HOA enforcement were implemented, and, most importantly, residents realized that appearances can be deceiving. People who once thought of our street as boring now whispered about the day of fake. Officer tried to intimidate someone and was stopped by someone they never suspected. For me, life has returned to normal, as close to normal as it can be when your spouse is Delta Force. I continue to tend to my garden, work on small projects around the house, and live life quietly. But I always know that, if danger ever comes knocking again, Jessica will handle it. And that knowledge is more reassuring than anything else in the world. The man who pulled the gun is facing serious federal and state charges. He is no longer a part of the HOA, nor will he ever be allowed near our property. The story spread online, but we chose not to participate in this sensationalism. Jessica's actions weren't about glory. They were about safety, discipline, and justice. In a world where authority is sometimes faked and danger can strike unexpectedly, courage and training matter more than luck. And for me, watching my wife in action was a reminder that real heroes don't wear capes, they carry experience, discipline, and resolve that ordinary people can only dream of. As for the neighborhood, life goes on. But there's now a quiet respect for the Delta Force wife who stood her ground, kept her home safe, and reminded everyone that real courage is never about looking tough. It's about being prepared for the moment it counts most. This story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.